start broadcast.
Yeah.
And then, so have you gotten a chance to watch any of the other critiques that I've done?
Yeah, I have watched Mackenzie's and Monica's critique.
Okay, great. So it works the same way. You're basically going to go over on the left-hand side and click the little screen share button. It's the green one. And then you're going to pull up whatever you're using to showcase your 5 photos. We're going to go through. You're going to tell me about them and how you think you did, and then I'm going to give you my thoughts on them, and then I'm going to grade you on a scale of 0 to 3. 0 being, why in the world would you bring this to critique? 1 being that it showed promise, but you kind of missed the mark. 2 being that it's a commendable photograph, and 3 meaning that it's exemplary. You have to get at least 5 points in order to pass level 4. No pressure.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So go ahead up and click on the screen share button.
Yeah, I'll just do that. Do I have to like select something? Sure.
Yeah,
It should.
you'll want to select whatever window or program you're using to show the photos.
I'm just using the normal Windows, but it doesn't show up here. The Windows photo viewer, normal. Just a second.
So when you click this screen share, it should bring up a little thing with a bunch of different screens that you can select from. Ah, the joys of the level 4 critique when nobody knows what they're doing.
I don't know why I can't see the Windows viewer. I can see everything else other than that.
Okay. Well, we've had a couple of apprentices that have actually used the Google window that they uploaded them into their level 4, and you can go right through those. Or you can pick a secondary program. Are you on a Windows or a Mac?
I'm on Windows.
Ah, well, that's your problem.
Should I open the ones which I uploaded on Google Plus, like in our community?
Yeah, you can do that too. That works perfectly fine.
Yeah.
This is the part where we're supposed to sing together to keep everybody amused until you get it up.
Okay. I'll start with a shivering sound. I'm just opening it up.
Okay. So how hard was it for you to pick your level 4s? Did you struggle?
Yes, I did. I wanted to get like 6-7 images. Yeah, I'm just screening. I'm just showing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. Perfect. Yep. Beautiful. Okay, so tell me a little bit about making the image and what you were looking for and what you love and what you don't.
Okay. So this was basically a client's shoot, and she had this lovely fishtail dress, and I love flying fabric shots. I do it almost like whenever I get a chance to do it, and this just luckily just came out so well. Like this is a composite of 2 images. So the tail behind is a separate image, and the rest is the separate image. And I just her posing and everything, I really liked it. And Michael pointed out that about the hand which is on the wall, the left hand. So that looks a little stiff. So I realized that later. So rest, I think I just like the way it came, and I didn't realize how good it was until I uploaded and people really liked it. That's why. Otherwise, I was like just okay with it.
I loved this one when you posted it. There's great motion in the fabric. It looks like you were playing with the liquefy or the warp tool a little bit on the back to pull it up and make it bigger. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can tell that just by how it pulls to a point at the top. If that had like a little bit more of a ruffle, it would be a little bit more believable that that was actually the fabric. So that's the first thing that kind of jumps out at me.
Hmm.
It's a little bit too perfect. It's this nice, very smooth line, so it kind of looks more like this orange liquid, which is
Okay.
why it's liquefy,
Yeah.
than it does flowing fabric, where the front piece looks a little bit more believable. But I do love the motion and the emotion that's evoked from that. I completely agree with the hand and the angles that we have
Yeah.
going on. I think if instead of like this, if you had brought it more up, that would have been stronger.
Okay.
Or you could have just um, pulled it down entirely and just had that front hand visible. I think that would have been fine too. She's got
Yeah.
beautiful light on her face. I love the catch lights. And I love the highlights on her forehead and her cheekbones. I think those are beautiful, and she's giving you great face and emotion. Um, just a little bit more detail in the hair, I think, specifically towards the back of her head, because she's got all these big, luxurious, gorgeous curls. And I would have liked to have seen just a little bit more of the texture. You almost have it. Like now I'm really nitpicking. Um,
Yeah.
but just a little bit more towards the back of her head, I think would have really sealed it. But overall, I love the coloring and the retouching and the way that the orange plays off of her skin tones. I think it comes together really, really well. So for coming in and this being your first critique, I'm going to give you a 3 for this one. I think it's exemplary from what I've seen from you online and in other places and in here. Well done.
Thank you.
All right, next image.
Uh, Next one. Yeah. So this one was one of my portfolio shoots that I did last year.
Mm-hmm.
My mom made the dress for this. We got the top from outside, and she wasn't very comfortable showing her shoulders, so we made the shoulder piece, and then again flying fabric uh, again. So and this is also natural light, and the makeup was done by my makeup artist, which whom I just recently found, and I don't know a lot of about makeup, so I got really lucky with him. And again, yeah, she has curly hair, and she used to never leave it open because she used to feel very shabby about it. So I was happy that she could leave it open and feel good about that as well. And
Good. Okay. So I love that you were getting creative with ways to kind of cover her shoulders if she was feeling a little bit more modest. I don't think that what you did necessarily fits with the dress and the rest of it. It looks very kind of hodgepodged and put together. If you had brought it down, I think, a little bit further so that it actually blended into the dress and across the front, then it may have been a little bit more believable. But for now, because of the tones of everything else, and you have all of these browns and these blacks and these darker colors and then the skin tone, it's really, really standing out. But I do love, and this is a great way to do it, when they have that beautiful thick hair like that, just having their hair over their shoulders is a great way to cover up and not have the bare décolletage if they don't want it. I think that this sequence and your lighting source are competing a little bit because it's picking up such strong highlights that I feel like all the way down her torso is fighting for competition to draw your eye away from her face, which should be the star of the image. I do love the motion in the background with the fabric. It's much more believable that that's exactly what it was and that there wasn't any cloning or distorting of that with Liquify. Her hand's a little bit stiff. It's a little bit posed on her waist. It's a little too high school prom for my taste. But I love that triangle of space, and that's something that I'm always looking for, is to not have the limbs against the body.
Yeah.
But her other hand is doing nothing for me in the background. I think if you had simply had her pick up her hand, um,
Mm-hmm.
and put a little bit of a crook in her wrist so that we had a little bit of angle, it would have given it a little more life. And I would have liked to have seen the elbow come out from behind her rather than it being severed so that it's just this limb protruding from her midsection.
Okay.
You beautiful catch lights in her eyes. The light on her face is really nice again. I love that she's got a little bit of fire in her expression and in her smile, and I love the texture. We're losing just a little bit with the dress and the dark fabric and her hair. It's kind of blending in right where the three converge a little bit, so I'd like to see a little bit more of a separation there. But overall, it's still a really beautiful image. I'm going to give this one a 2. I think it's commendable. I think it has a lot of promise, but I don't think you quite hit this same stride that you did with the first one.
Okay. I always struggle with the hands, always. It's like the posing of the hands is always difficult for me.
Talk to Protege Jean about that, because he is always getting yelled at for his hands.
Okay. I'll go to the next.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this was my first maternity shoot, and again, my mom made the dress for this one since there's nothing that was available, and we really like the velvet and the shimmer net that so we combined like in this image it's not been seen so much, but in the rest of them in the series, the shine, the shimmer and the velvet look really good with each other. And again, I got the tiara made, and the shoot was really very, that the energy that you get from the shoot, it was really awesome that I had. And she's one of my school friends, whom I met after a lot of years, and I photographed her. And the thing that we shared in the shoot was amazing, and this would be like a memorable shoot for me also as well as her.
That hits on a very good point that a lot of photographers struggle with, is that when we have an emotional attachment to the shoot, we tend to become attached to the images by extension, which aren't necessarily our best images, and that's kind of the case here a little bit for you. I love the styling. I think it's super cute with the little halo garland of flowers, and I love the colors of the fabric getting pulled into that, but I also think it's just a little bit cliche in the styling. And for doing a maternity shoot, even though we can see her stomach, like, you kind of turned her away from the camera, and the whole focus of maternity is the belly. So you definitely want to have it more direct profile. We're kind of seeing a good bit of her back, and I think it would have been stronger if it was perfectly profile of her. Okay. You have to be careful too, if you are going to pull this pose, the maternity element aside, when you have the shoulders up, if you have the hair on the front of her shoulder, then you lose all of her neck. So you can't see anything, and it makes her look short and stocky. So just pulling the hair to the back of the neck allows you a longer line down the front and down the side that will help to slim her down a little bit. And we're losing a lot of her. She's got this really thick, gorgeous hair, but here it's kind of overpowering her, and it's making her look bigger than she is. She's got a very cute, coy expression, but it's shot a little bit high key. I'm not a fan of the lens flare. It's not doing anything for this shot but distracting. But I do kind of like the fact that it opens up right into your watermark, which is cute. Because I do little cliche things like that sometimes, where it draws attention to my name. The lighting's a little bit harsh. The rim light on her nose and her lip is kind of dividing her face into half, and we're not getting a lot of color differentiation. This is really hard with girls like her because she's got that really dark chocolate kind of eye color. So it tends to, the iris and the pupil tend to blend in with each other, so you have to get the light in there to get any kind of distinction. Otherwise, they're just these big round circles and there's no separation, and all of the life of the photo comes in through the eyes. So we lost it a little bit because of the way that she's turned away from the light, and it's a little blown out around the rims. So I totally get why you like it, and I think that connection to people is so important. But for me, this image in that session is missing the mark for me as a maternity shot. So you're going to get a 1 for this one. I think it shows promise. I'd like to see you kind of revisit the same theme and idea and try it again, but I don't think you quite hit it here.
Okay. All
right, next one.
Yeah, so this one, this was again in a natural environment. I don't generally have, I don't make my images look cool a lot, but this time I tried it, and using the gold reflector on her, but during the edit I gave it a slightly cooler tone. I never go this cool generally. And I love the close-up of her face. I like the way the features are showing. And yeah, that's.
I like this one too, and it's good to experiment. I like that you're playing on the different side of the color spectrum. I do that as well. I tend to shoot very, very warm tones. That's very signature for me. And every time I put out one with more of the bluer colors, it always creates a punch in the reaction that I get from the people that follow me. So I think experimentation is good, and I think it works here a lot because her top is a cooler color. It lends itself to that, and she's got this really beautiful raven hair that pulling those blue highlights out of, I think, is creating a totally different emotion in this image. I love the pose and the styling. You almost have it if you had pulled the hand that's in her hair towards her head a little bit, so you had gotten more of the angles of the fingers and the wrist. It wouldn't look quite so clunky, but that's nitpicking. It's not killing the photo for me. It's just something that could be an improvement. I would have, however, taken her in exactly that pose and turned her just a little bit more towards the light, so we would have gotten that Rembrandt light with that triangle under the eye, because you're getting just a little bit of the fall off onto the cheek, and it's making her face look very flat on that side because it didn't commit. So either it needed to be split or it needed to be Rembrandt. I think you needed to pull it a little bit further. So if we had taken her in that pose and literally had her hold it and just kind of rotated her just a couple of inches, I think the lighting would have been a lot more impactful on it. The retouching is very subtle. I probably would have gone in and retouched a couple of the stray hairs that are coming off her forehead, and the lines on the neck always go for me. They're nothing but age lines, and part of it is understanding, because when people start to look plastic, it's because their retouchers or photographers are retouching expression lines, which are different than age lines. The necklines are always age lines caused by gravity and the skin elasticity going. So those always get smoothed out for me because they help her look younger. But you had to be careful then around like the eyes and the lips and stuff, because a lot of those are expression lines and it just depends on her face. Same thing with light. If we had rotated her just a little bit, you wouldn't have quite as harsh a shadow along the cheek line from the bridge of her nose to the corner of her mouth. Those deep inset lines are also very telltale of age. Usually, like the older we get, the deeper they get. So when you have really harsh shadows, it actually gives the illusion that she's older than she is. So just a couple of things to look at. But overall, I love the styling. I like the expression, and I like the cooler tones on it. So I'm going to give you a 2 for this one. I think it's commendable. A couple of tweaks would have really taken it over the top, but it's still very good.
Okay. So this was one of my very early shoots, early portfolio shoots, which I had done last year. And this light I found, we had the entire shoot, and just for this part, I was taking a behind-the-scenes video where I was making her turn along with me, and I came across this light that just the sun flare, and I really loved it. And I like the rim that she has over her head. I really like sunlight rim lights. in my images generally. So, and I gave it a very vintage look. That's why I have like the texture on it, which probably I wouldn't put now, but at that time I I liked it. That's why I put it. So, my mom made the skirt, and we got the top and everything. And this was like the first time with flowers, and my first experiment, uh, that you could call in glamour.
I totally understand why she's your muse. She's beautiful, and she gives a very sort of ethereal, je ne sais quoi kind of energy where like you're drawn to her, but you don't quite know why. It's the Mona Lisa effect, you know. Like you're not sure what it is, but there's definitely something kind of. I like the rim light. And she's got this long, gorgeous hair. And I'm usually a big fan of pulling the hair away from the face, but it works here because of the motion and the life that it gives it, that it's kind of coming across the front of her face. I totally get what you were going for with the beams of light. Your problem is that when you're taking pictures of people, their face is always the primary. That should always, always, always have top billing, even when they're full shots, and especially when they're portrait or three-quarter. And you have the light beam literally severing her at the neck. So if we had turned her the other way and put her in the light and let the hair fall off and the back of her fall off into shadow, I think it would have been stronger. Or if it was filtered light where we were getting like the streams of light rather than one big because it's a very definitive line cutting diagonally across. And you could actually fix that and go in and just dodge and burn and add a little bit more depth to the light there. But I love her expression. The wardrobe for me is a bit of a fail on this one. I love the idea of it, but whatever the top is, it's not flattering her at all. It's making her look really pudgy, and she's thin. Just because of the way that it's hanging around and the kind of satiny fabric that it is. Because it's not fitting her, all of those loose folds in the fabric look like fat rolls, which is never a good thing. And because the skirt cuts in at the waist, but it's sitting up, it's just, she should have a nice smooth line all the way down the front of her body, and we're seeing the curve of her chest, and then we're seeing another curve at the waistline, and then another curve because of the waistband, and then it's bunching out. It's just very frumpy. As a whole. So I would have been inclined to go in and liquefy that a little bit to fix it, but honestly, this is one that you should have caught before you started shooting, that it wasn't really flattering her figure. The hand, I love the idea of, but again, it's dead life in the hand. The fingers are all together, so it makes it look almost Paul-like. Having her stretch her fingers out, give her hands something to do. The quickest way to get pretty hands is to give them something to do, because nobody knows what to do with them. We fiddle with them all the time when we're nervous. So having her actually grip up the fabric in the dress and get some motion in the dress would have been good. Having her lead with her hand would have been good. Or also, with it being in profile at the angle it is, if you had pulled it back further along and brought her hand up almost to her waistline, we would have created that little triangle / diamond space between her arm and her back, because right now the body language and the thickness of her is being registered from the front of her abs to the back of her arm, because there's no separation, and she's more slender than that, so it's making her look wider than she should. The light on her face is lovely. I love her expression. I think it works in black and white. I think it would have been stronger if you had turned her around and faced her towards the light, and still kept that rim light. And if we had changed some of the wardrobe, but it still has it. Even with all of those flaws that I'm seeing, it still is a endearing photo because of her and her presence, and that comes from you and you connecting with her, which is something that's really, really, really hard to teach. You know, everything else that I'm telling, you can pick up on those things and amend those things. Those are the details. We can fix those. Having that human connection with your subject, that's really difficult. So that is going to bump it up for me to a 2. I think it's a commendable image, and as long as you're getting that connection will trump technical precision 9 times out of 10.
Okay.
So, well done.
Thank you.
That's all 5, right?
Yeah.
Yay! Okay, so you can go and click off of the screen share. And then, so let's have a little conversation about why you joined the Arcanum and what you're looking to do and your artistry, because you're new.
Okay. So actually, last year, I was a visual effects artist by profession for 6 years. After which I started feeling a little. I wanted to explore more, and so I started. I used to do photography, but just as a hobby. And last year I started professionally, and I came across Subrez and her teachings and everything, and I really liked it. And there's nobody who like here. Photography is generally for kids during weddings and family pictures, but there's nothing such as like people, women don't go out and photograph themselves as much. That like not the everyday women, like people who are models or actors, they'll go and get a portfolio done, but not the regular people. So I thought it was a really nice thing, and it just connected with me, and I feel really passionate about it. I now also when I have clients, I get more of families and couples, but whenever there's a woman who's come alone for the shoot, she's enjoyed a lot, and that's when I get that connection, and I really love it. So
Okay, so you're shooting some families and some weddings and some other things, but you're really
I'm shooting families. I'm just shooting portraits basically. So
okay.
I'm shooting couples, families, and solos. So
Okay. What do you love to shoot though?
women solo. Just
Okay.
I really
Why are we not focusing on that?
I am like now, like I have been on my Facebook page also. I have been just putting up women pictures, and it's still like even when I shoot families, whenever I have the entire shoot, I will shoot the family, couple, solo, everything. Like I'll shoot even the solos of the women that are there. But when they go to pick up the pictures, they will pick up the family pictures over their solos, even if they love it. So I don't know if there's a guilt factor. I don't know what that is. And they love the pictures, but they always pick the couple or they leave themselves aside. But I do get I have photographed solo women also,
Okay.
but the majority of clients that have come are not that much, and I'm trying to encourage more women to come and do it. So.
Okay. So you join the Arcanum, you're here with us. What is the ideal scenario? You're with me for 20 levels. Where do you want to be compared to where you are?
So the thing is, the reason why I joined Arcanum was since August business took off, and it got a little much for me. I've been doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing, like the marketing and this and that, and scheduling meetings and whatnot. But after
Let me pause you there. You said I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. What is it that you think you're supposed to be doing?
I'm supposed to be marketing, and I'm supposed to be like getting people in and everything. And now November and December were very big sales for me, but it killed me, like doing I was burnt out. I was really burnt out, and how much I want to experiment creatively, I could not put in the time and everything. And January again, I went into an expo, and it did not work out that way. I did not get as many clients as I got in the previous expos and stuff like that. And January, February also I had shoots lined up, but there were postpones and cancellations, like last minute cancellations, and then I realized that my February is empty, and I should be worried, but I was relieved. I was relieved that okay, I get a break, and then that's why I wanted to do something different now. the way I am running my business, it somehow does not fit my nature. I need to fit it into what I am as a person. I don't like going and um, calling up people and trying to get them in and trying to. I love creating. I want to just create, and I don't know how I should be marketing. Yes, I can
Okay.
create content. I can create. I can make videos. I can post on social media. I can do all of these things. But actually, doing expose. I've done 3, 4, but now I'm done with it. I'm so tired of it. And your expos are
Good.
like 10
Good.
days.
Look, anytime I see you do this, we're not doing whatever is causing you to massage your head in the agony of thinking about it. That's a bad thing. So we cut that out. That doesn't work.
Yes.
There are all kinds of things that work for all kinds of people. That doesn't mean that it works for you or that you should be doing it. I should be is a really, really dangerous, dangerous way to start a sentence as far as your business goes, as far as anything in life goes, because it means that you're gauging yourself based off of what you're seeing externally in other people, and that doesn't work for you. So I don't do any expos. I don't do any cold calling. I don't actually do any sales or marketing whatsoever. And I'm teaching about this. This is like the basis of my class for Ignite too. Show the work. Like, that is how you sell. The problem is that everybody's worried about being known, and they're worried about how many likes and how many followers and how many phone calls they're getting, and they're really concerned about being well known and getting their name out there, and they're more focused on that than they are creating something worth being known for. And that is a profound difference. So I would rather see you buckle down, and I would rather see you, instead of spending your time at an expo for hours doing something you hate, I'd rather see you put a shoot together that you love and do something that you feel creative, and practice and beat on your craft over and over and over again. And anything that you don't like doing in marketing, cut it out for the next 6 months. For the rest of the time that you're here, don't do anything you don't like doing as far as advertising or marketing. And every time that you would have set aside time to do those things, I want you to shoot instead. That is your goal. Because the more impactful and the more people connect with the images, the work starts to do the work for you. Your artistry starts to make the argument for you. And your artistry will sell itself because people fall in love with those. That's where the connection lies. That's what we do as artists, right? So you're creating these beautiful images, and then somebody's coming along and they're looking at them, and they feel a connection to the model, and they feel a connection to the artist, and they feel a deeper sense of connection to themselves. Every photograph becomes a mirror, and it shows them something important about themselves. So I would rather you focus your energy and time on what you like doing anyway as a creative and creating this beautiful art that's going to move people than just throwing effort out in random locations where you think you're supposed to be marketing.
Right.
What do you think?
Yeah, actually, the thing was that after December, I realized like, okay, I am doing well, and I have a lot of clients, and I have a lot of bookings and stuff like that. And then I thought, now, right now, I'm shooting at home, and I have my family here, and I want to shift into a studio. I want to have like a proper studio space, proper experience for my clients, as well as I want this sacred sanctuary for me where I go and photograph. Now, so that again, right now I don't have a lot of liabilities. Like, even if I don't have a client in a month, it's not that I'm not going to get food to eat or anything like that. But I want to do that. I want to be at that level where where like I have it's a profitable studio also. I don't want to burn out myself, as well as I want to do other things. Like I want to travel. I want to shoot something different, like something for myself. Like I just did that yesterday. I shot a self portrait, and something like that. I don't want to just do client work, but sustain the studio, as well as do other things. I don't know if it is
Okay.
like a very dream or whatever, but Yeah,
Of course it's a
that.
dream. Why does that mean that it can't happen? That's the whole point. It always starts with a dream. Always.
Mm,
Don't don't let that voice talk you out of what you want. That's fear. That's fear that jumped up right there. Did you feel it? I don't know if that's just a silly dream. That's self-doubt. If you don't believe in yourself and don't see your own potential, how will anybody else?
right.
You know? So, most of the time when we're feeling overwhelmed or feeling like we can't accomplish what it is that we're looking at, it's because we haven't broken it down into recognizable steps. Saying, I want to have a successful studio is way too open-ended and broad. What does that mean? Because every single person in your cohort is going to have a different definition of that. Does that mean that you shoot one session a month and have the rest of the time to travel, but you're making $5,000 to $10,000? Does that mean you're shooting one session a day? You know, is it clients coming in, or is it the bottom line? Like, success is very different for different people. So define a successful studio. In an ideal scenario, if I could snap my fingers, wave my little magic Arcanum fairy wand, and give you what you're after, what are you looking for?
I'm looking for 6 clients in a month, and I want to have the studio income. I want it somewhere around, like, rupees. It would be somewhere around 5 lakhs, which would be a profitable studio. Which would be like, I'll get money for myself as well as the studio will have the earning. So
Okay.
that is what I'm looking at.
Okay. Good. So, breaking that down monthly, how much did you want to make a month?
Monthly, it would be 5 lakhs for the studio. So
Okay.
I want to take home somewhere around 2 lakhs or something like that. So somewhere around.
Okay. Good. So, that's the way that I always build my business plans, and that we've been doing it with the others, is we start at where we want to be, and then we work backwards from there and back plan our trips. So if you know that you want to be making five and you want to be shooting 6 sessions, I hate math, so I would move it down and go, well, I'm shooting 5 sessions, so if I want to make five a month, then I want to be making one per session, and then it's just a building of that, which sounds much more manageable. And if you look at that and go, well, those prices are really high, and I don't know if I could make those, then you can decide if instead of doing 5 sessions, you want to do 10 and work your way up to it. But if you're saying that you're too busy and you're getting hired and you're burnt out, that's always a sign for me that it's time to raise your rates, because that
I
means that.
have done that. Um,
Okay.
I just did that in Jan and all my clients disappeared. So, but yes, I did get bookings for March. So I have a few bookings right now, but
Okay.
nothing is like, stable. And right now, till now, my average sale that was there was somewhere around 30,000 per shoot.
Okay.
So it's still like, way far away from what I I want. And the thing is that the I don't know how to gauge it. Like, my base prices I increase, and my clients disappear. So I don't know whether I should just change ways of marketing, or I don't know what exactly the issue is. And
Okay, so we raised our rates. Here's the question, is that if I am someone that spent money with you in the past, and then I call you up to spend it again, and you tell me that your rates are doubled, then the quality of what you're offering has to have doubled too. So can you look at a shoot that you did for a client that booked your previous rates and say that the artwork that you're giving them is worth twice the quality now?
actually, the my previous clients who had come in, and they've been seeing pictures on my Facebook, and that's been like, 6 months ago, and they're like, I love what you're doing now. I want to come for a shoot again. So they've not booked me yet, but they are planning to. Like, they say that they're okay with it. So I they certainly like what I am having now, because the first almost, I think, up till August, I had only word of mouth and mouth referrals, like only referral clients. So there was no marketing
Okay.
as such. So
But you're dodging the question and you're scapegoating onto your clients.
yeah.
Will they think, and they said, do you look at your artistry that you've done for past clients before you raised your rates and see double the value?
I don't know. I don't know.
Mm, that is why your phone is not ringing.
I was just too busy shooting that I did not pay. I was too busy. Like I was very busy. So now that's why in February now I have planned around 5 to 6 conceptual shoots that I want to do, and I
Okay.
thought like I'll really focus. Like I watched that previous critique of I think the profit talk that day I was checking that out, and after that I started posting on my Facebook page more often. I post 1 or 2 images every day,
Good.
and I thought like instead of now pushing, and I don't have the stamina of marketing now, so I thought I'd rather conceptualize shoots and focus my attention there. So and create something that people have not seen from me yet, and something forget about people also, like I want to uh, I want to create art that thrills me, and that is what like is like really pushing me now. So this is what I am planning for, like either people there, plans are there, not there. I don't care right now, but right now I need to create something that really uh, makes me feel that just thrills me. I need that feeling from myself that I'm creating something different. So
That is the mark of an artist.
yeah,
Absolutely. I need to create something that thrills me. And I absolutely believe that. It is a personal mantra of mine that if you are not photographing what thrills you, what sets you on fire, what moves you, then you won't create art. You'll just take pictures. And that's a
yeah,
profound difference. And you can be successful at either, but if you have an artist spirit, you will wither and you will feel overwhelmed and you will feel burnout and you will lose sight of why you're doing this. I'm exactly the same way. I have to be doing work that inspires me. So if you already know this about yourself, I would imagine that the next steps for you would be to create art that, one, thrills you, and two, that you can look at and say, this is why I'm now worth my new rates. You have to believe that. It's not that it's not. Your clients can think it all day, but everybody takes their cues from you on how to treat and how to interact with you. So if you don't look at it and the images that you're creating and go, absolutely, it's worth these new rates, they won't see it either, and your phone
yeah,
will not ring. You have to believe that. If you're second guessing yourself, if you don't believe in the value of what you're doing, nobody else can believe in it either, because who knows the value of it more than you?
yeah,
Yeah. So that is your mantra for the second half of the foundation sphere: is I am creating work that thrills me. And I
yeah,
think that if we focus on that, and if you make that your focus for the next 5 levels, that when we start to get into sphere 1, where we really kind of delve into more personal things, then it'll be very easy to build a business that is financially sustaining based around work that inspires you. Yeah?
yeah. And
Okay.
also, there's
Do
one more
you,
thing that
go ahead.
uh, yeah, I get a lot of inquiries for shooting babies. Yeah, I can shoot them well, but I don't enjoy the process so much, and I feel really bad, like saying no um, to
Don't feel
shooting
bad.
babies. I don't know. I
That's like going,
like a very
that's like
evil person.
that's like going to a Chinese food restaurant and trying to say that they should feel bad that they're not serving cheeseburgers or Italian food. Like, it's okay to specialize. Like, I don't shoot babies, Every now and then I'll pick up my camera, but I don't advertise it. They're not in my studio. I don't shoot weddings anymore. I gave them up and I did them for a while. Like, it's okay to just shoot what you love. It's perfectly fine to do that. You don't have to feel bad about that. A lot of people, their conflict comes in I want to be known for this. This is what I want to shoot, but this is what I'm getting offered to be paid to shoot, and I need the money. I'm fine with you shooting and getting paid for it if that's your priority and it makes it worth it for you to put the time in. but you show the work you want to be known for. So if somebody calls and says, I want baby portraits, and you're like, well, it's been really slow this month, I want to pick that up, and you can do that and do a good job for your clients, then I'm fine with that. Go do that. But don't post the photos, because then you're going to get more baby photo inquiries, because people are going to go, well, I have a baby, I want you to photograph her too. So you'll notice, like, I very, very rarely post anything that isn't boudoir, because that's what I want to be known for and booked for. It's really that simple. But it's also perfectly okay. Like, I get calls for seniors, and I get calls for family events, and I still get a lot of calls for weddings, which I used to do, and it's very easy. The hardest thing for artists and sensitive spirits to learn is that it's okay to just say no. And not explain either. Like, it's okay to just say, no, I that's not what I do. And my stance is always to follow that up. Now that I teach, I know so many awesome photographers, so it's really easy for me to go, no, I actually don't do family portraits, but let me recommend you to Charles King, who's an excellent family portrait photographer and actually did my family portraits. And, you know, or let me recommend you to so-and-so who does weddings, and let me recommend you to this senior photographer. And I just keep a plethora. So they're still getting, you know, the best quality, and I'm still helping them fulfill their needs. I'm just not personally firing the shutter.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah, and also avoiding like there are people who postpone their shoots like every month. How do I avoid that? Like, I take in advance, but I don't know. I if it is just a day in advance, 2 days in advance, or say a week in advance, I can't put somebody else in at that time, because I go personally for styling. Like, I go shopping with people for picking their clothes and stuff like that. So I give a lot of personal attention to each shoot, because I don't want the shoot to be compromised in any way. So if it is too soon for me to take some other client from some other month and put it in that week, so I lose clientele in that.
If you wanted to book a venue for a party, what would you have to do that? How do you secure the date?
With the booking amount.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do take booking amount, but then they request, like, you know, can we just do it in next month or something like that? We have something coming, whatever. So
what were we talking about? We're going to teach you how to say?
Yeah, no.
Nope, your time is too valuable, and you train people how to treat you. So when somebody says, oh, well, I know I'm supposed to put the deposit down, but I'll put it down next month, and you say, okay, you just told them it's okay to do that. You just gave them permission. That is completely 100% on you. That's all your fault. Has nothing to do with your clients. It has to do with you not being a good businesswoman.
What happened was when I had taken bookings in the expos, since there was a lot of rush and everything, I was giving people two options of approximate month that they wanted to shoot in, because not everybody wanted to shoot in the next month or two. Some people wanted to shoot in, say, like, you know, 3 months down the line. So they were booking accordingly, and a month in advance, then I give them a call, and we finalize the date.
No, they do not. They do not get put in your calendar until they put a deposit down.
Yeah, they do have a paid deposit, so they.
And it's non-refundable.
Yeah, it's still gone.
Okay, so if I come in and I say I want to book you for a session, and you're asking me to put $100 down, and it's non-refundable, and it's not able to be put towards a new date, if I don't show up, I'm gonna lose that money. I don't want to lose $100. If you're, go ahead.
Yeah. I think I should increase the amount that they're putting into the booking, and
how much is your average sale? What is the minimum amount of money you want to make every time you pick up your camera?
The minimum right now, the package is 21,990. So that is the minimum that I get paid for a shoot of 10 photos. So it is upgradable and everything. So that's the minimum.
That's the minimum. That's what they're spending if they come in.
Yeah.
Then that is what the deposit is.
Okay.
That's the deposit. For me, the way that I do it, if you call and say you want to book a session with me, it's a $500 deposit that holds the studio for the day and puts my makeup and hair people on hold. That's what it takes to get on my calendar. Now, the way that I do it is that anything after the session, I have a big movie theater presentation room on the first floor of my studio. So after they're done the session upstairs and we're done shooting, they come downstairs and they sit and they view all the images that we just took, and they pick out the ones that they want for product. Anything they buy that day, right there in the studio, that $500 goes as a print credit towards whatever they want to purchase. Now, at minimum, that $500 will buy them one 11 by 14 print. That's it. So they're not obligated to spend any more than $500. I have not had a client spend less than $2,000 in the last 2 years because they want a collection of images. They didn't come and get their hair and their makeup done for one picture. But if I didn't do my job and they can narrow it down to one image that they want, then that's fine. They can do that. I don't care. Because that means I failed, which I have yet to do. So it's a challenge. However, if they come and they look at the photos and they pick them out and then they go, well, I'm not ready to order right now. I want to go home. I want to talk it over with my husband, or, you know, I got to look at finances or whatever. As soon as they step out my door, that $500 was their booking fee for the day. So if they order a $3,000 package, they're paying an extra $2,500 towards that night. If they go home and call me 2 days later and want to book that $3,000 package, they're writing me a check for $3,000. It's an immediate buying thing. That's the only time they can use it, is while they're in the studio that day during the session. Otherwise, it's just their session fee. Because if I let them walk out the door without investing it, then the car breaks down and their bills come in and they want to go and plan for a vacation, or WPPI comes up and they have to go out there. You know, there's everything else gets in between you and them. You know, my husband used to be a recruiter for the military, and he used to say all the time, contact to contract. The more time that elapses from when you're firing that shutter to when you're selling the prints, the lower your print sales will be, if anything. The more time between the expo and you going, would you like to book a date, and when that shoot actually is, if they have not put money down, you will lose them. That is, I'm telling you right now, that is 90% of your problem. If you're having a lot of cancellations, is that they're not putting enough money down. If they're spending $2,100 on you, and that is the minimum they're spending, then that is the minimum that they put down for the day. They can upgrade, they can spend more, but that's what they put down. At bare minimum, even if I wasn't going to do that, I would make it half of that. And it is non-refundable, which means if they call to cancel, they don't get that money back. It's a retainer for the day, because you're right, they can't call you 2 days in front of their shoot and cancel and give you enough time to rebook the day.
Right.
That's the cost of doing business. So, yeah. So that's, you know, it's tough love, but it's business, you know. And the thing is that the more that I have valued myself, the more I have taught my clients to value me by extension, because they see that I don't play around with that. Like, there's no exceptions, there's nothing. This is my business, you know. This is how I take care of my family. This is how I provide my lifestyle. This is how I'm able to create the images that I create, is because these are my rates and what I pay. And I never have to say a word of that to any of my clients. That's a stupid argument that I hear people going, oh, you have to explain the value of what you do. No, it's useless. When is the last time that you walked in to get your hair done and went, I wonder what the overhead for the hairdresser is? I wonder what the rent is for my grocery store? You don't care. You just want your food and you want your hair to look fabulous. Like, that's it. You know, you don't care about their overhead or their family life or what their equipment costs or anything. That's your problem. That's a cost of doing business. I want my pretty pictures. That's the only thing your clients care about. So for me, when they come in, they know that I mean business, that they're getting my undivided attention for the day, that I have a fantastic hair and makeup artist that's going to make them feel like $1 million. I'm going to take incredible images, and I have top-of-the-line products that they can use to display those images however they see fit. That's what they're worried about. And the fact that I am high-end and the fact that they do it to put money down tells them that I'm better than all the other photographers down the street that are charging $200 that they keep canceling on, because those guys trained them how to treat them. And so did I. Everybody will take their cue of how to treat you as a business by what you allow. What you allow is what will continue. And Rand, I'm done.
Yeah. I'll learn to say no. That's my...
Yes, learning to say no is going to be a good lesson for you. And I would definitely look at it. At bare minimum, whatever your minimum is that you want to make for the session, I would cost to book you for the day. That has to be paid in advance to get a date on your calendar.
Okay.
That would be the bare minimum for me. And the other thing that that'll do is that'll help secure for you so that you know that that's going on. And a lot of times, like, if we do have a day in the studio and my team's all there and for whatever reason somebody doesn't show up or it gets canceled or whatever, we already have the team together. We always have other makeup artists and models and creatives. We'll just open the studio for the day and have a play day and create work that inspires us and, you know, that thrills us. That's when we get to play because everybody's all together and we already got paid for the day. So it's not like it's even time for print because everybody got paid because that deposit was already down. So we just take the day and go do something fun and play with it and create some of our favorite images that way. You know, it's win-win for everyone.
Right.
Do you have any other questions? I promise I won't lecture you.
No, I really need it. I keep your book all the time beside my bed. I'm always reading it, and because I want to even venture into boudoir eventually. Here it's pretty much for reserve mentality. So it would be a probably difficult market to put it out there. But when I told that idea to my mom, and she was like, "What is boudoir?" And then I showed her a few images, and she's like, "Wow!" I was like, "Seriously?" I know. I mean, she. And then I told a few of my friends, and they were like, "I would love to do it." And of course, don't put it on Facebook, but I would love to do it, and I'm all right with it. Like, that's more than enough for me that somebody is ready to value themselves so much that they want to get something like that done. So that is one of my future plans that I want to get into. Let's see.
Yeah, I love it. And you will, and it'll make you crazy because some of your very favorite best images will be from the clients that don't want you to share anything with anyone, and it'll break your heart because you'll love them. Like, if every client that never let me share an image suddenly called me and was like, "Hey, you can share all of my photos now," I would be able to post a photo every day for the next 6 months, easy. And they're some of my best pieces and nobody's ever seen them, and it kills me. I have literally begged clients before to use their images to no avail, which I think is really important. Like, once they say no, that's it, that's the end of it. But like you said, it can be very empowering, and it's very, it requires a lot of trust and a lot of vulnerability with boudoir. Like, most people are nervous in front of the camera in general, let alone once you take off all your clothes. So, having that level of trust and you being able to do that and then being able to share those photos with the girlfriends and, people in their lives that they trust and know that you're trustworthy, that builds a really strong fan base and client base as well. So I think you'll be surprised how fast that'll take off for you, especially if nobody around you is doing it.
Yeah. And also, like, people, like the clients who have come to me trust me a lot. They let me do whatever. So that I already have that. So if they had to get that done, they would like come up and get it done from me. So I'm okay with that part. And, like, I don't know why I'm delaying starting it. Like, I'm just
good. I like it. I'm glad you're thinking about starting it out. I think it'll be really good for you. So, all right. Well, you passed level 4 with flying colors. And so you get to go in, you get to get congratulated. Anybody that wasn't watching, tell them it was terrible and just awful, and you're dreading the next one, and make them fearful.
Okay.
And I will see you again at level 9.